with Rebecca Hargraves and Devon Stack.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Outlaws. That's
We're
right.
on it, right? Sorry, my internet is a little bit laggy. I am coming in from my brother's house in Iowa. There are 7 children under age 8 downstairs. This place is a fucking zoo. Zoo.
Yeah.
Not believe it. Yeah.
I was going to tell everyone that you were on a spaceship because of the white background.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Going to the moon.
Oh yeah, we're not going to the moon. We're circling the moon.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
Yeah, it's the DEI tour of space.
Yeah. It's like a nog, 2 white guys that are super generic, and then some Asian lesbian.
Is she Asian? I thought she was just ugly.
She looked Asian to me.
She could be. But I guess that went off without a hitch. There's lots of moon spurgs, of course, that are calling everything CGI and, whatever. Lots of retards. And then there's also, I guess, they're wrapping up at the Supreme Court the final arguments for Trump's executive order on taking away birthright citizenship, which I don't think will happen.
Nope.
I don't think that'll happen at all. In fact, it's funny because all it's going to really do, if it did, it's for illegal immigrants, moving forward. So it's not even for birthright citizenship, period. It's just for illegal immigrants moving forward, meaning that the tens of millions before are still here. And in fact, included in those millions, people like Kash Patel, director of the FBI, birthright citizenship, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Vivek Ramaswamy, like all these people that shouldn't have citizenship, and there's no way that they will take it away. But,
yeah, I mean, it's such a drop in the bucket. How many people do you think this is even going to affect?
Not well, I don't know. Like, if they actually, first of all, it's an executive order, which means the second, let's say it works. First of all, we're not going to get a decision on it until probably the end of the summer. I think it's like 2-3 months down the road before we'll even get a decision. And then there's the enforcement part of it. Like, what does that even look like? And then, of course, you're going to have lawsuits and all this other stuff, with individual cases. That's going to be an issue. And then the second Trump is out of office, all it takes is the next president to be like, oh, never mind. It's all bullshit because it's an executive order and it goes away. So the only way to really do that would be to amend the Constitution.
Right.
But you can't do that because you'll never have a supermajority big enough in the Senate to pull something like that off. And even if you did, then it goes back to the state. It's like,
yeah.
It's already done. There's not enough white people to make it happen anymore.
Someone in the live chat just said, well, it's better than nothing. No, it's not better than nothing.
No.
Because this is nothing. It's the same as nothing.
It's the exact same thing as nothing. So
Trump always does this shit. It's just so performative. He just wants to give a little wink and a nod to white people so that they can go back to their bread and circuses. But nothing he does is ever meaningful. I can't believe anybody is still in his camp at this point. It's infuriating.
Yeah, it's just their morale executive orders. It's there 100% to raise morale among the base, who people like whoever just said that it's better than nothing. It could be worse. It could be worse presidency. Was that what people had in mind when they were voting for Trump? Well, it could be worse. and I guess maybe it is, because that is something I would hear.
Yeah.
It's better than Kamala. It's like, well, is it though? Because if Kamala had won, people would be mad right now instead of saying it could be worse. Because would you be saying it could be worse if Kamala was president? No, you'd be freaking out. Boomers would be freaking out. And we're talking about people like the trust in the electoral process after the Biden fiasco was like I think Republicans were clocking in like it was crazy low. It was like 20% of Republicans believed in the electoral process, and if they had stolen it or even if it was legit and Kamala just won, no one would believe it, right? And you'd have a bunch of really pissed off Republicans instead of a bunch of people cheering on Iran getting bombed by Zog. So, yeah.
I guess, although I question whether boomers could ever get rallied to do anything. Except for you, Mom and Dad. You guys are different.
Yeah, well, there are we do love our based boomers. We do love our based
Indeed.
boomers. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about really two topics. Of course, in the thumbnail that Rebecca made, she's very proud of. She's very proud of she's making steps in the right direction.
I know. I sent it to Devin. I was like, I made a thumbnail, and I'm afraid you're not going to like it. And then I sent it to him. He goes, well, it's better than I expected. Thank you.
That's the best you're going to get out of me right now. Until you can do better than what I expect, you know, or at least what I expect. That'd be great. But
oh my god!
But yeah, it works. It's good enough, I guess.
It's good enough.
I guess.
That's all I could ever want from you, Devin. Is
just
for
like
you to
Trump,
tell me that I'm good
it
enough.
could be worse.
My heart, daggers in my heart.
But as the thumbnail says loudly with a really big font at the bottom. Hasidic police above the law.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we are going to be talking about the Hasidic police. But one of the things that I looked into that kind of, I think, explains why that's even a thing. Obviously, most people are at least maybe surface level, or maybe you aren't, surface level aware that a lot of these insular Jewish communities around the United States and actually around the world, because it's the same case in the UK. They have essentially their own police force, and they drive cars with sirens and shit, and they LARP as cops, and it's kind of weird. But one of the reasons
they design their jackets to look like the NYPD, and they have little liaison tickets on them.
Oh yeah, and they paint their cars to look like police cars.
Yeah,
and they do have communication with the police. I mean, it's not like now they should be, but it's not like the NYPD is arresting them for impersonating police officers. They should be, but they're not doing that. But one of the reasons why this occurs is the concept of I'm going to say it wrong, but we're going to hear a rabbi say it. It's spelled Masira, right? Masira. Mm-hmm. We'll hear him say it in a second. Now, what that is, it's Hebrew for handing over. Handing over. And by that they mean handing over a fellow Jew to the authorities. Turning in a Jew to the Goyish, which this guy will actually say. He talks about the Goyish government. Handing over another Jew to the Goyish government, and how that's actually forbidden. It's forbidden. The Masira prohibits a Jew from informing on, so even telling the cops, or handing over a fellow Jew or their property, that's another big thing, to any Goy authority or justice system. And this is part of their religion. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if you commit that, you are known as a Moser, which is like a rat. You're literally a rat.
Yes.
And so this is something that has become a problem even for the Jewish communities that practice this. Although there's a lot of benefits that are obvious. But because of the scandals that these Jewish communities have had with sex abuse scandals, for example, some rabbis are trying to push some of these Jews to go to authorities in certain instances. And it's become such a thing that I found a seminar where a rabbi has come to speak to a room full of Jews and explain to them in detail when it's appropriate to turn in a fellow Jew, and when it's not. And again, it's pretty crazy. like it's actually like I was watching this and I was like, no way. He says it? Okay.
Does he talk about having the status of pursuer and what the Jewish community is allowed to do with a serial informer?
Not with a serial informer, but I mean, they do make it sound like this. You're committing a sin. Like
well,
it's
Talmudic law actually permits you to kill a serial informer.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he doesn't get into that.
No, naturally.
And there is a lot of Yiddish. Now, the funny thing is, I've been hearing from Jews, especially, my whole life about how this is what Muslims do, right? Muslims, they create their own little communities and they never participate, and it's okay for them to lie to the infidel, and they make a big deal of this. I've been hearing people like Dennis Prager bitch about this for decades. Well, this is worse, And in fact, I remember like Dennis Prager complaining, like, oh yeah, in Dearborn, Michigan, they set up their own courts. It's like this is exactly what Jews do.
That's what Jews do, yeah. It's
100%. So let's flip over to this guy, this handsome man right here. This is Rabbi. I actually have his name somewhere here. Rabbi, he's got like the most rabbi name ever. Herschel Schachter. Herschel Schachter. And now look, he's trying, again, the purpose of this seminar is to try to get some Jews to actually contact the authorities more often. So that's the context. He's actually trying to get them to, but listen to how he doesn't move from the old school way of looking at it. So this first clip, he explains the purpose of it. The purpose of Misra. I think the way they say it, it comes out like Misra, but we'll hear in a second. And the way that he explains it is it was designed to keep the riches, the Jew gold, away from the Goyim. I mean, that's essentially what he's saying, is that the Goyim would always try to steal our gold. They would always try to steal our gold. And so we couldn't have the Jews telling the Goyim which one of us had gold. And so that's how it started. So I'll play the clip here, but that's basically what he's saying here.
The question is regarding Mesira. Now, Bisman HaGemara, Mesira meant that the secular government was interested in enriching themselves, and they can't tell which are the wealthy Jews and which are the poor Jews. On Shabbos, everybody dresses up nicely, and on the weekdays, everybody dresses up with working clothes, and you can't tell who's the wealthy Jew and who's the poor Jew, who has millions of dollars stuffed in his mattress and who does not have. So I'm going to Masa, to the Goyish government. I'll tell him that Pliny is a very wealthy man. He has millions of dollars stuffed in his mattress, and this will lead the government to go raid his home and take all of his riches, take all of his wealth. So this is a prohibition of Mesira. Or if I'll Masa to the government that they should put someone in prison for no good reason. So for no good reason, that's a prohibition of Mesira.
For no good reason.
No good reason at all. I like how the rich people always have that money in their mattress.
Yeah. I can't tell the Goyish government will know that they went there. He's got the Jew gold stuffed in his mattress. So and then he mentions how I couldn't find this, but we should track this down because it sounds very ominous. He mentions that just a few years ago there was that nursing home scandal, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, these rabbis got the people not to rat them out because of the Misra. And I'm like, hold on, what nursing home scandal? That sounds dark. So this, but here when he talks about this is an example of the community invoking Misra in order to prevent people from going to jail.
I remember many years ago when they had the big, over 40 years ago when they had the big nursing home scandals. So unfortunately many Jews were involved in these cases, and I remember, I don't know why they sent it to Yeshiva, there was a psak written in Hebrew handwriting, I think it was written, on stationery from a Satmar Bezdin in Williamsburg, where they wrote, that was signed by 3 rabbis, and I never heard of any of them, from Williamsburg. And the psak said, they quoted from the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Chav Ches, chapter and verse, Siman Chav Ches and Choshen Mishpat Sif Daled, that it says in the Shulchan Aruch that if I master on someone else who's a criminal and the government puts him in prison, so this is a violation of Mesirah.
So there you go. Now, I got to find out, this is probably about 50 years ago, Williamsburg, I think he said, right? We got to find out what Jews were doing at nursing homes 50 years ago. Or maybe we won't know because of the Misrir.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, this is something that rabbis, they threaten their congregation. Don't you rat anyone out, no matter what, even though this sounds like it was probably pretty bad, whatever it was. So then he talks about how it is okay to turn over troublemakers in the community if the goy already know that something happened and it's going to make the Jews look bad as a community if they don't. That it's better to sacrifice one of their baddens than to hide them from the goyish government.
The Be'er HaGoyla on the side of the big Shulchan Aruch point out that this was always the practice whenever there would be a Geneva, and the police would think that the Geneva was probably done by some Jews. They had reason to suspect that it was done by Jews. So the suspicion would fall on the whole Jewish community. So the Rabbanim and the Gabayim of the Rosh HaKohol would approach the police and they would give them a list of all of our Jewish ganafim. And would say, look in his home, look.
Our Jewish ganafin. We have to start using that. That means baddens. Oh, well, here's a list of our Jewish ganafin. The Goyish government's here. Hey, you get the list of the ganafin.
Say, look in his home, look in the homes of the following 10 people, and you'll probably find your Genevin. And it says this is not...
Your Genevin. Yeah, here's the Genevin, the Genevin.
Not considered Mesirah because these people do Genevas, and it's in order to remove the suspicion from the whole Jewish community. So in such a situation, that's considered removing a Chil Hashem from the whole Jewish community. So that's not considered... an Isser, not at all considered an Isser of Haveda Sakra, and it's certainly not considered a prohibition of Mesirah.
So it's not violating the Mesirah if you turn in some baddens to save the whole community from being suspected by the Goyish government.
That's really interesting, like an interesting angle of Jewish psyche. We saw that in the triplet separation studies. Like they're able to sacrifice part for the whole in a way that other communities, I think, are not.
Oh yeah.
Which is an underrepresented understanding of Jews, because I think we all think about them like they're so tight knit, but they will just turn on one another if it means that it's going to jeopardize the whole community.
Well, even like the response to October 7th, right? And you often hear this from like anti-Semites where it's like light switch brain anti-Semitism, where they think that all Jews are like the Borg and they're all operating together as like one entity. And it's like, no, they'll burn Jews all day long if they have to. I mean, there was that the Ergon blew up that ship during the early days when they were trying to kill off the British, when they were trying to take over Palestine. They blew up that ship that had like 200 Jews on it. I mean, so they'll do it. They'll murder Jews all day long if it's going to get them what they want. So that's a good example of that way of thinking. So then he goes into another aspect of it. He explains that you shouldn't turn in a Jew. So this is when you don't want to turn in a Jew. If you disagree with how the Goyim will punish him. So if you think that the laws of the land in the host country that you're in, you don't like them as a Jew, then you can just ignore them. It's totally fine. And in fact, this is, I think, what is responsible for the Chris Christie fiasco.
Yeah.
Because Chris Christie went after Kushner's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared Kushner, as revenge, threw him under the bus after he helped Donald Trump get elected. And then Donald Trump pardoned Jared Kushner's dad. And also, this honestly, I think this explains all the Jewish pardons that Trump hands out like candy. Is, oh, well, under Jewish law, it's totally legit if you embezzle $30 million from the goy. So why would he be in jail for 30 years? We can't have that.
So there's no standard, just if you disagree with the punishment, with the goyim punishment, even if it's some kind of slap on the wrist.
Right. If you think it's not what Jews would have done to punish their own, then you're allowed to not tell the cops. So this is him saying that.
Sometimes, let's say on the books, it says that if a person violates a certain crime, so he deserves to sit in prison for 10 years. Okay, so if they'll put him in prison and the other inmates will harass him, and they'll abuse him, sexually abuse him, or the prison guards will abuse him, which is often the case in state prisons, so then I'm causing that this person should suffer more than he's legally required to suffer. So in such a situation, it will be an Isser of Mesira.
But everything is permitted under Jewish law.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if you rape a kid, and then you go to jail and everybody treats him like a child rapist, that's disproportionate punishment, and it was explicitly permitted under Jewish law anyway.
That's exactly what he's saying. He's saying that
is unbelievable.
Yeah. And this is the guy who's actually trying to tell them to go to the cops more. Like, the purpose of his talk is to tell these people that they need to go to the cops more because they're not going enough. And he's still saying this stuff. So this is just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. So then he talks about how it's not up to law enforcement, in fact, at all, whether a Jew deserves to go to jail, that it has to all be decided by a rabbi. In fact, this is 100%. Chris Christie, in an interview, mentioned this, that Jared Kushner was really pissed off because he thought that his dad's creepy sting operation with the hooker and the hidden where he was setting up his brother-in-law, that should have been worked out with rabbis. And this is what he's talking about. Lord. No, for real, this is 100% that the Goy government had no authority over Chabad, and how dare they. And Chris Christie was interfering with God's chosen people. So here he is talking about how it is up to the rabbi whether they involve law enforcement at all.
So Shaila has to be asked in each and every individual case, and you have to discuss it with either Rabbonim or social workers or both together to try to...
By the way, when he says social worker and stuff, he's talking about Jewish community social workers, not like state of New York social workers.
To figure out how much will this person suffer if he gets in prison, and is he really guilty of the crime? We have to figure out, is he really guilty? Does he deserve to sit behind bars, to sit in prison and so on? And then in such a situation, if the government knows that I know information and I'm hiding that information, so then there's certainly no prohibition of Mesira. It's just a question of Aveda Sakum, and in such a situation, there is no problem of Aveda Sakum.
Now, there's another aspect to this Jewish mind gibberish, okay? They also explicitly say that if the Goyim know, like if for example, he'll tell you in a second this, if the Goyim know that you're up to something, it changes the dynamic a little bit, like, because then if you still hide it, then you might bring more heat. But so he mentioned that a little bit there, but he'll get more into it in a second. So it's up to a rabbi and not up to the government. And if the government already knows, then you can turn him in, and he'll get more into that in a little bit. So in this next bit, he talks about how you're not permitted to give him to the government if the rabbi decides not to. And also reiterates that this is not an unusual thing, but pretty much all Hasidic and Orthodox Jews believe this. So this is not like some fringe behavior that's going on that, just, that's just a few extremist Jews are like this. No, this is all Orthodox and Hasidic communities believe in this, that the rabbi decides, not the Goyish government.
In the modern Orthodox community, the Hasidic and Yeshivish Orthodox community, it's generally assumed that this is the biggest Aveira in the world. Mesira is the biggest Aveira. Well, Mesira covers all cases. So this is a big mistake. The Rabbanim have to be consulted in each and every individual case, and they can't pontificate. They have to discuss it with social workers or with psychologists and so on, and try to figure out, is this...
Right. No, he's saying that the Jewish rabbis, that it's not up to... Basically what he's saying is, if you, let's say about like a sexual abuse case, you're not allowed to tell the cops. You have to go to the rabbi, and then the rabbi can then talk to other, Jewish social workers and Jewish psychiatrists, and then decide whether or not they go to the cops.
So there's you don't have to inform anybody outsider. You don't have to take their opinion into account at all.
None. Zero. In fact, you're not allowed to. Like, he's very clear about that. You have to go to the rabbi first. So it's not up to you to. In fact, some guy, I think I might even have the clip in the audience, says, "Well, what if it's my rabbi that's a problem?" He says, like, "Well, you have to go to a different rabbi then." But yeah, that's what he's saying here. Is he's saying that you have to go to the rabbi. And as he said, said earlier, that it's all Hasids and all Orthodox believe this.
And so on, and try to figure out, is this person a public menace or not? If the individual is a public menace, and then it says in Shulchan Aruch that there's no Isur of Mesira. If he's not a public menace, just a menace to one private individual, so then the Shulchan Aruch says one is not permitted to massa him to the government.
Wait.
Yep.
So if he's a menace, if he's a violent menace to a single individual, then he's not a public menace, and he doesn't have to be dealt with outsider law.
He goes into this.
Rape one person repeatedly.
Well, no, it's actually worse than that. So he goes more into this, and I'm not sure if so here's the nuance there. The nuance is, and he does. I don't know if I clipped out this part or not. I might have, but he mentions later on in his talk that because the Jews lack the authority to lock someone up in a jail, like there's not a Jewish jail, that if someone becomes such a problem that they're a menace to the community, then they have to tell the police. But if it's something they can contain, like a guy who is just menacing one other person or one child, I guess, and he's not a danger to the entire community to such a degree that they think he has to be locked up, then they don't tell the cops. So the only time they're telling the cops, and that's what he means by the menace to society, is when it's so bad they can't, like they need someone, or at least until they finish building the Jew tunnels, they need someone from the Goyish government to lock them up.
Oh my gosh.
So then he says that all sexual abuse cases are can be considered misra. So all sexual abuse cases should be taken to the rabbi.
In the Orthodox community, both in the modern Orthodox and the Hasidic and the Yeshivish, everything is considered prohibited. Everything is Lashon Hara and everything is Mesira, and it's just not so. These things are not Mesira and they're not Lashon Hara. Sometimes they are, but one has to discuss each and every individual situation.
See, that's what he's saying, is the community treats it like everything is Mesira. And that's why he's here to talk to them. He's like, well, we need to start telling the cops sometimes. So that's what he was. But the important part is, according to him, all of the modern Orthodox and the Hasids, all of them treat every crime like it's Mesira.
This is not some kind of alternative network of policing. This is diametrically opposed to our system of law.
Right, and this is why all these scams I've done tons of streams on these multi-million-dollar scam artists that live in these communities, and they get away with it, even though, and they have 10 of their relatives are in on it and working on it actively, And it's because it's really, I mean, it really is like a La Costa Nostra type shit. So, it's that's what we're dealing with. They're basically, they act as if our laws don't fucking matter to them at all. So this next clip, he talks about how rabbis won't tell people to go to the police if they see sex abuse. And again, he's not saying that's what's recommended. He's just talking about what's the reality in the community right now. Like in the previous comment, he wasn't saying everything should be Misra, but he was saying that's how it is. And in this clip, he's saying the same thing. He's saying that like a lot of rabbis won't tell people to go to the cops, even if it's a sexual abuse case.
I remember once I was sitting at a Sheva Brachas. So someone came over to me and said, yes, what would I do if I would hear that the mashgiach in the yeshiva is starting up sexually abusing some of the students in the yeshiva? So I said, I would go to the police. What's the shaila? So he said, this fellow tells me he consulted many different rabbis. The only one who said that was Rabbi Gifta. Everybody else beat around the bush.
So out of all the rabbis this guy talked to, asking if someone at the yeshiva, the Jewish school, is molesting the kids at the yeshiva, should I go to the cops? And only one other rabbi besides this guy told him yes. So that's why he's there to talk to him, because he's like, this is absurd. We can't keep doing this, or we're going to keep having these scandals here.
Yeah, he's worried about the public outrage. That's it.
No, to a degree, that's true. He's worried about the risking the community as a whole, because it's going to give the Jewish community a bad name. He then talks about how almost no matter what the crime is, and it's excusable, because every Jew is going to experience anti-Semitism if they are in the judicial system, which is crazy because it's like all the lawyers and judges are Jews.
Yep.
Right. But somehow, even that's anti-Semitic. And of course, the prison system is anti-Semitic. So he basically says, because someone in the audience asks, like, well, am I allowed to rat out someone that I see commit a crime if I know that they're going to actually have to go to jail in the Goyish justice system and have to deal with like law enforcement? And he basically says in a roundabout way, well, if you think they're going to experience anti-Semitism, really nothing matters. They can do whatever they want.
Sometimes you'll have a situation, unfortunately, we live in the Gebenchte America, but sometimes you'll have a situation where because he's Jewish, that's where they'll punish him more than if he would have been non-Jewish. So then that's already not fair. So then he's going to be punished more than he deserves to be punished. He deserves to be punished, the same as any Nachri would have done the same Aver. But if you know that there's anti-Semitism mixed in with there probably will be, we can predict in advance, there probably will be anti-Semitism mixed into the psak of the judge, then you have a problem on Masir. So all this has to be considered in advance before a person masses someone to the government agencies.
See? You can't master someone to the government agencies because every judge, they're going to be anti-Semitic, probably will be. I mean, the Jewish judge is probably going to be anti-Semitic.
No, we'll see later. These Jewish judges are very sympathetic to their cause.
Yeah. So that's where he talks about that. He then talks about how Jews are not allowed to sue Jews. That if you have any kind of dispute with a Jew, it can't go through the legal system. In fact, later on, he even says that if a Jew is on trial for anything, even if it's like murder, that because you can't validate the legitimacy of the Goyish justice system, you can't even serve on the jury as a Jew, because that's basically saying that their justice system is legitimate. And in this case, the same thing, where if you have to go to the Goyish court to settle your dispute, you're basically undermining the Jewish courts. Look at this guy with this. He sounds like Dennis Prager. He's got the same physiog, and he's got like a big old birthmark on his face. But this fucking guy. So he answers or he asks, someone asks a question about the be able to sue another Jew.
One is not permitted to sue another Jew in secular court. You have to go take him to a din Torah. Sometimes if I try to take him to a din Torah, he refuses to come, so the Bezdin will give me permission to go to secular court. This prohibition against going to secular court, it's not like eating chazer. It's not an absolute prohibition, like Chilul Shabbos or Avodah Zarah or something. The issue is that you mevaza the Jewish court system. We have Jewish courts, and you can go to the Jewish court. If you went to the Jewish court and you couldn't get anywhere because the other party refuses to come, so then the Jewish court will authorize you to go to the secular court in order to retrieve the money that you're entitled to. So the Shulchan Aruch, it says the Bezdin will only authorize you to go to secular court to the Akos to retrieve the money, that amount of money that I would win if it would be a legitimate din Torah.
As long as it's going to get you money, you can go to the goy court.
Yeah, really.
If in a din Torah, the din is that Grumman and Ezekin is Aser, the Gemara says he did an Avera, but Grumman and Ezekin is Pata. So then the Bezdin will not authorize him to go to secular court to retrieve that money, because Al Pi Din is not entitled. If both parties are Jewish. If one of the parties is not Jewish, so there's no din of Arkois at all. There's no prohibition of Arkois. I can certainly take him to secular court. And whatever the secular court will be mechayev him, I have a right to collect. That's not a problem.
It's like fucking listening to Dr. Zoidberg.
This is what he's saying to people. Can you imagine what is under the surface?
Oh yeah, no, this is something he's saying. He knows he's on camera. They uploaded this to YouTube. You know,
For God's sakes.
And again, this is the pro talk to the police guy. This is the reformer. This is the guy trying to get Jews to talk to the cops more, and he's saying this shit. So imagine what the rabbi, like, for example, you know, a couple clips back when that guy was like, well, if I see someone getting molested, you know, should I go to the cops? And he's like, yeah, you should go to the cops. He said, well, that's the first rabbi, or you're the second rabbi to say that. Well, what would these other rabbis, I mean, I'm assuming there's at least two for him to just phrase it that way. What would these other rabbis say on this exact same topic?
Yeah. And then what do you do? I mean, how many rabbis do you speak to? What do? They rock, paper, scissors to figure out what the actual outcome is. You can just talk to rabbis ad infinitum. What's the plan here?
Well, and the fact that they have a structured court system, you know, that operates outside the law is insane. And that's precisely what Jews have accused Muslims of doing, which, again, they do. They, you know, the Muslims do have their own separate, they have a similar analog to this. And that's bullshit too. But the Jews have been doing this since the dawn of time.
Mm-hmm.
So in this next clip, he reiterates that Jews can't put other Jews in jail unless it's to protect themselves, and the judge already knows that they know, which is kind of funny.
So-and-so violated some municipal or state law,
Yeah.
and the punishment of the state is to put you in jail. Are we permitted to turn them in?
So if the audio was a little quiet there, but the guy said, are we permitted to turn in another Jew if we know that the punishment is for them to go to jail?
I'm not really gaining anything by the fact that he's going to be sitting in jail. The government wants to put these people in jail, so I think the Shulchan Aruch considers that Aveda Sakum.
I mean, come on. I don't gain anything by putting him in jail.
The Goyish government is looking for their missing man, whom they want to put in jail. So you're not supposed to help out in a situation of Aveda Sakum.
I mean, he's spelling it out. If you know that another Jew is going to go to jail for committing a crime, then I'll play it again. Then the Goyish government, you shouldn't tell him.
I'm not really gaining anything by the fact that he's going to be sitting in jail. The government wants to put these people in jail. So I think the Shulchan Aruch considers that Aveda Sakum. The Goyish government is looking for their missing man, whom they want to put in jail. So you're not supposed to help out in a situation of Aveda Sakum, unless it's a case of Kiddush Hashem Achil Hashem. So again, if the judge knows that I'm covering up, because all the Jews cover up on each other, so the Mechaber writes that constitutes Achil Hashem.
See, if the judge
this
knows.
is the difference in the mind between the Jew and the Gentile. he's saying, I'm not gaining anything by him being in jail. But the Gentile will think that society is gaining something. Society's gaining some kind of protection. He's not thinking about that at all. And this is their most outward facing, seemingly affable and relatable guy talking about how you should go to the police. This is an outrage.
Right. And he even said at the end, unless the judge knows that you know, then it's okay to turn them in order to save your own skin. Because, and because they know that Jews don't tattle.
Unless it's a case of Kiddush Hashem, Achil Hashem. So again, if the judge knows that I'm covering up, because all the Jews cover up on each other, so the Mechaber writes that constitutes Achil Hashem.
I mean, it's just crazy that's even, he's casually talking about how the default is to cover up the crimes of other Jews.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying.
Into the cake with the Shamrin.
So the last clip here is just him reiterating, never go to the police first. Always go to the rabbi.
When would it be proper for a person, I guess, to go directly to the police because he's convinced himself of what took place, as opposed to going to a Rav? When would it be okay to bypass the Rav, I guess, and go directly to the police?
It's always a good idea to go ask a shayla in advance, but you have to make sure you ask a person who's knowledgeable in this area. He may be knowledgeable in the first few simanim of Choshen Mishpat. As Rabbi Taba said, this is all the way at the end of Choshen Mishpat. So you have to. It's always a good idea to ask. Maybe there's another solution to the problem.
What other solution? Oh God.
So that was his talk to the Hasidic community that wasn't going to the police often enough when kids were getting raped.
So in your research for this, in my research, I did not find a single instance where they were enacting justice within their own community. He's always saying there's another solution. There's another solution. It's not like they're punishing these people within their own legal system. They're just finding ways to cover it up. That's the only thing that I found.
Right.
Did you find anything like that?
No,
they're
it's
not
like I said,
people.
there's no
They
Jew
have no
prison.
Prison networks. Yeah.
Right. There's no Jew prison unless, who knows what's going on in those tunnels. But as far as we know, there's no Jew prison. There's no Jew exile, or I don't know what the punishment would even be. So
Right.
There's no punishment. So they avoid punishment whenever possible. And so now you kind of get a taste for why they would find it necessary to have their own police force, because obviously they want to get to the crime before the cops do, so they can sideline the cops entirely on this shit.
Yeah.
And now I think that's a huge part of it. The other part of it, obviously, too, is the part that is the more publicized part of it. That, it's their community sticking together against the crime being committed by the goyim that come to their neighborhoods and totally fuck shit up. And in fact, that's kind of the that's the message you get from they made an awesome commercial for their personal police force here in New York, the Shmira. And so strap in, everybody. This is you're gonna be quite impressed with how hardcore these guys are. Oh no, a Mexican! Oy vey, a Mexican!
Hello, Shmita, where's the emergency?
Ja, ik zei aan hem aan en mijn schoen zalen wij. Ze zei ze hebben recht gedaan.
Is that this? Central base, can I get the
Respond to 1451
where you want to progress?
Super Jews, we are fighting the Goyim threat. Super Jews, we won't let this Goyim get our money. Super You better watch out. We fight for justice, we will punch you out. Like Mike Tyson if he was a Jew. Super Jews. We have Cadillacs with sirens and shit. Super Jews. We also have cameras and walkie-talkies too. Super Jews. We have a drone. We'll catch the Mexican guy inside your home. Super Jews.
So Super Jews, they come to the rescue.
To be clear, that video was real.
The video is real. I augmented the soundtrack for a brief part of it. I just want it was dragging. It was a little long, like because I edited it down. This whole like, hard hitting movie trailer action film thing style they were doing. It goes on for like 10 minutes of them like, oh look, it's the Mexican. He's going through the drawers again.
Yeah.
Oh, he found some money.
They have like a proper marketing team. These people that I think it's the Shmira or just another one of these groups. They have a dedicated YouTube channel where everything is just like them high-fiving NYPD officers.
Yeah, it's pretty
Heartfelt
good.
AI songs about being together with the NYPD and saving the community.
So that's the yeah. So they have a history of self-patrolling. The history of self-patrolling. Did you want to expand on that, or?
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's.
Oh, you're roboting. Oh no! We have lost connection with the spaceship. Let's see if she comes back here. Up, maybe up. Nope, she's not back. Oh, you're back now. I think.
Was that me?
Yeah, that was you.
Is
you
everything
dropped
okay?
off. Yeah, everything over here is okay. It's your crappy internet.
Okay. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. Anyway, they're a volunteer civilian patrol group. And they were found, this is so gay, but they were found in the early 90s, and they were called the Bakery Boys because they were a bunch of Hasidic teenagers basically that worked nighttime delivery jobs. But then they get officially incorporated in 1995, and it's not just Crown Heights, it's not just the Brooklyn area. This pretty much exists in any city where there's a large Hasidic community. So it's not just New York, which is a common misconception. And they have cozied up to the NYPD. We're going to talk a little bit about this, but they're recognized by the NYPD. They have really excellent equipment that has been dispersed through federal funds, and they communicate with the NYPD. They get to crimes first. And so all of the videos on their YouTube channel is them taking down suspects, and then the NYPD shows up and is like, great job, Jews, for figuring this out so that we didn't have to do anything. It's just incredible to me that they're allowed to do this. They would never allow this with white people ever. Look at what happened in Waco. David Koresh was insane, but he was trying to operate outside of the law and exist in his own community under his own law, and the federal government went in and murdered a bunch of kids.
Well, and the thing is, I think there's something that white people need to be aware of, and that is white people will often wave this kind of thing away because they'll say, well, they're a minority group. And if you think for even a second that the same courtesy will be extended to you when you are a minority group, you have another thing coming. You have another thing coming. There's no way in hell that is how things will go. And by the way, they will still retain those same extra rights and privileges that they have when they're a majority and you're a minority.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
White people need to wake the fuck up to that. So they've had a very cozy relationship with the NYPD. There's a lot of cooperation there that goes on in those instances where it is a Mexican and not a Jew that's causing a problem. And as people have seen, I'm sure the documentary that Tyler Oliveira, is that how you say his name? I always mess it up.
Yeah.
He put out those two videos, and in both cases,
one of them has 8 million views,
which is great. And it's kind of ruined his financial life, but that goes to show you. But even though this is the kind of he was being really easy on the Jewish community with these videos. He wasn't exactly going in there and acting like Handsome Truth and whatnot. He was being really civil and trying to just be fair. And what happened? You had a bunch of cops roll up and harass him because they got phone calls from the Super Jews. And that's a typical thing in all of these different communities. So, that's something else. Something else to...
Oh, wait, I did have this quote I wanted to read. So this is Joseph Esposito. He became the chief of the...
Keep going.
So this guy, he's the highest ranking uniformed officer in the NYPD. And he was commissioner of New York City's Office of Emergency Management. He said, what we did with the Bakery Boys and the Shamran in the 6-6, the precinct 66, could be a model for the rest of the city. They are the best run, most controlled civilian patrols I've ever experienced in my tenure in the police department. So he thinks that they should extend this to the city.
People heard me talk.
Did they really?
Well, it's because I was like, "Oh, keep going." I should have said that before I went back.
Damn you, Devin!
I ruined it. People
fucked it up.
Now the FBI did not shut down the stream, but I'm sure at least someone thought so.
That's what I thought was going on. That's what I thought was going on when my stream actually dropped. So
oh no, that was
we really
you.
fumbled this.
All right.
Well,
so
April Fools.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Surprise. We're bad at this. All right. So
bad.
Now, I don't know. Do you want to talk about the Shurim
Let's talk
member?
about the Liechtenstein case.
Okay. Tell us about
what were you going to talk about?
No, that's what I was asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's this bribery case. This guy, Alex Shia Liechtenstein, he was the former leader of Borough Park Shamra. He had established this lucrative underground business, and he was a gun license expediter. So he was working with one of the NYPD guys, and he was charging clients fees from $10,000 to $18,000 to secure a gun license. And these were not like good people. These were people with criminal background. He would do it for basically
Jewish gangsters.
In exchange, yeah. In exchange for these bribes, he was giving people from the NYPD liquor, limo rides, all sorts of gifts to rubber stamp these applications. And then, like that rabbi said, rumors began circling within the NYPD about this, and the deputy in charge banished Liechtenstein from the department and cut off his access to these two officers that he had been working with. So he decides to go to it because he's a greedy Jew. He decides to go with another different NYPD officer. He just like scouts one out, and the NYPD officer is like, no, I'm not going to do this. And then he goes back. The NYPD officer goes back to Liechtenstein, and he's like, never mind, I am going to do this. But of course, he's wired up, and Liechtenstein gets taken down. He's arrested by the FBI and the NYPD at his home in Pomona. And he's found at the time carrying an NYPD detective shield Parent word liaison.
Well, the funny thing is, like,
on $500,000 bond.
In this news report, you mentioned that like he was too dumb to realize that the guy who told him no, who suddenly was like, on second thought, why don't you bribe me?
Yeah.
Wait till you hear what the actual audio between the two of them was. It's pretty funny.
Probe involving the NYPD. Shia Alex Lichtenstein is accused of bribing NYPD officials to expedite gun permit requests. 3 officers from the License Division were disciplined as a result. They are the latest in the string of officers transferred in this widening corruption probe. Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan is in Lower Manhattan tonight with the latest. Jim.
Well, as federal officials, federal prosecutors today said Alex Lichtenstein obtained so many gun permits for so many people in South Brooklyn, he was essentially an arms dealer for the neighborhood. And so tonight, the latest shoe to drop in the growing NYPD corruption scandal. Alex Lichtenstein left federal court today after posting $500,000 bond and did not say a word about the bribery charges against him.
I have no comment.
Just a week ago, Lichtenstein was recorded by a hidden microphone appearing to offer a police officer up to $6,000 for every gun carry permit the officer helped him obtain. Lichtenstein represented several wealthy businessmen in an Orthodox community in South Brooklyn. Lichtenstein is heard at one point saying, "I'm not bribing you." And the police officer replies, "I'm not and here he used an expletive, "Of course you're bribing me. Let's be frank and honest here."
I'm not bribing you.
Say that you're bribing me. Yeah. Jeez. So his greed outweighed his reason. He was obviously wired up. This is just incredibly. So how much time do you think this guy got for being a gun runner? Less than 32 months in federal prison, and all he had to do was forfeit the $230,000 that he had earned in illicit earnings. And that doesn't seem like much time. This is a very, very serious crime. And why is that? Because the judge was Jewish, Judge Sidney H. Stein. But how deep did this scandal go, Devin?
I don't know. Like, surely this is the only member of the Sham Rim Patrol that has ever experienced any kind of scandal whatsoever. Surely, right?
Yeah, really.
I would imagine.
Yeah, of course, the stream-ins.
Especially even the guy in charge of the Sham Rim. I bet he's got to be the most moral Jew of all the Jews.
This tight-knit Borough Park community is what Jacob Daskell serves to protect as head of the
Jacob Daskell. That sounds like a good, upstanding name, right? Jacob Daskell?
Orthodox Jewish Safety Patrol. Instead, tonight he is sitting in jail behind bars accused of raping a young member of this community, someone he was supposed to keep safe. The allegations are troubling. They are disturbing. If they are true, it would mean someone whose duty is to protect this community has violated that very tenet in the worst way. Jacob Daskell is the leader of the Sham Ream's Brooklyn South Safety Patrol in Borough Park.
Super Jews, okay, so maybe I rate Super Jews. You can say that wasn't so great, Super Jews. But most of the time I keep this place safe, Super Jews. From the goyim threat that always awaits, Super, sometimes rapey Jews.
The 59-year-old is accused of raping a 16-year-old girl repeatedly between August and November of last year. No one came to the door at his home this evening, but his Sham Ream patrol units were still parked outside. The group acts as an auxiliary police force for this Orthodox community, a civilian safety group that patrols in marked cars and works closely with the NYPD to keep the community safe. They are a powerful force in the Hasidic neighborhood.
Super Jews, come on, cut me some slack, Super Jews. Just cause I rape doesn't make me all bad. Super Jews, oy vey, you better not let me fry. Super Jews, remember when we got that Mexican guy? Super Jews.
Daskell is president of the group. The Sham Ream has been around since the 1970s. They've also faced controversy, including as part of a 2016 FBI investigation when one of its members was accused of offering bribes to NYPD officers to try to secure gun permits.
Super Jews, oy vey, why are you bringing that up? Super Jews, not my fault, the NYPD's corrupt. Super Jews. Missiles isn't all we enjoy. Super Jews. We need the guns to shoot at the guy. Super Jews.
Daskal was not implicated in that case.
Super Jews. See, goy, let's not get complicated. Super Jews. In that case, I was not implicated. Super Jews. Relax, buddy, and give me a break. Super Jews. That other Jew was bribing. All I did was rape. Super Jews.
And Jacob Daskal is in custody tonight. He's facing several charges, including rape, criminal sex act, and acting in a manner injurious to a minor under 17. He will be arraigned sometime tomorrow.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our working process. So every Sunday, I start messaging Devon, and it's like a wall of text, unread message about what we're going to talk about. And then eventually he gets back to me. He's like, yeah, we'll talk about that. It's fine, whatever. And then he doesn't talk to me at all until like Wednesday. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I got it under control. The show's covered. I did all the stuff. And he never tells me what he's fucking doing or anything like that. But this is what he's doing. Well done, Devon.
Yeah, there you go. Super Jews. So you want to give him just a few details? I gotta think. Let Churro in. If you can give him some details about the rape case. I'll be right back.
So this poor girl. I mean, to the extent that I can feel bad for Jews, which is very limited. But this was a 15-year-old runaway girl, and her parents had kind of excommunicated her because she was into modern music and things like that, reading teen magazines. And so she contacts Jacob Daskal because she needs to find a place to live. And because he's a skeevy Jew, he's like, well, why don't you come and live with me? And then he immediately starts raping her. He rapes her in New York, and he takes her across state lines through New Jersey to rape her some more. And then he's like, you cannot tell anybody. It's going to ruin your life. Nobody can hear about this. And then he helps her enroll. I think he's worried that the heat's on a little bit, that she might talk. And he enrolls her in a Jewish high school in Chicago. She moves in with another family, and he continues to like come out there and rape her, and bring her back and rape her. And he's sending pictures of his disgusting Jewish dong to her on Skype and through text. And she develops a friendship at her Jewish high school in Chicago. She tells her friend, and then her friend tells some other people, and then she recants. And then she gets expelled, presumably because of this instance. And then eventually the allegations are slowly leaking out to authorities. So that's when they go rabbi mode, and they're like, we have to deal with this because this has gotten out. It's gotten out in Chicago. It's gotten out in New York. This girl's talking, and everybody's telling her to shut up. The whole Jewish community is like, we cannot be talking about this the entire time. The only person that told her that it was okay was this one friend at high school where she was expelled, presumably for this. So eventually, the Supreme Court indicts him on 20 state charges, including rape in the third degree, criminal sexual act, sexual misconduct, and endangering the welfare of a child. He's arrested by the NYPD in his Brooklyn home. He's released on a $75,000 bond. I'm sure he had that much gold hidden in his mattress, probably 3 times as much in case he was convicted for his other myriad crimes. They search his cell phone, and the FBI opens up a case, a parallel investigation. So yeah, that pretty much brings us up to speed. Did you want to add anything before I talk about this a little bit more?
No.
Are you back?
Yeah. Churro apparently sauntered off, so I don't know. I don't know where he went.
He's like, let me die. I just want to go into this. Is he okay? Is he doing better?
Yeah, he's back to normal. He just looks stupid because of his haircut. But
his ketamine wore off. His ketamine.
Yeah. I mean, he's a tiny bit sore. Like you can tell, he doesn't like jumping over the fence as much. So I'll let him out the gate instead of making him jump over it. But he'll be fine. Like,
oh man,
like pretty much. I mean, you wouldn't know it unless you knew him. He seems fine.
Poor little guy. Anyway, Yakov, he gets a team of Jews to help suppress the digital evidence because he says that it was a fruit of the poisonous tree from the botched state warrants, which of course isn't true. A federal judge who was presumably not Jewish denies the motion and allows the graphic text messages and a million dick pics from Skype into the evidence. He recognized he could not win at trial. He pleads guilty to 1 count of transportation of a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. So he raped her for like a year, and he only has to do this 1 count of transportation of a minor with intent to engage in sexual activity. He got 17 and a half years in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release, $250,000 in fines. I don't know if this judge is Jewish, though.
Well, the real question is, how long before Trump pardons him?
Pardons him, I know, right? Has he already pardoned him?
I feel like I'm a little surprised if he hasn't. I mean, it's
there's a civil lawsuit too from the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. The victim, she files a massive civil lawsuit against Yakov, and she amends the complaint to include 27 additional defendants, including a bunch of community members and associates, because they clearly aided and abetted his crimes and failed to protect her. And so there's all sorts of evidence for the Shamrim shield, because she was talking to rabbis, she was talking to peers, and they were all telling her to shut up, like do not tell anybody about this. This is a community issue. And Daskal, he was really in bed with the NYPD. You remember that guy that I talked about earlier that said all those wonderful things about the 66th precinct? Frequent VIP at these police events with that guy. He had direct lines to precinct commanders. And when these allegations first surfaced, there was tons of public criticism that local authorities were dragging their feet, and they were. They stalled the case for years while he was on bail, and they just did not want to get him. And I don't think that sentence is very serious. But yeah, 27 co-defendants, people that looked the other way. They knew about the abuse, they facilitated it, or they participated in it and the cover-up, because they were worried about the reputation of the Jewish community. So yeah.
Sweet. So there you go. There's the story of why Jews need their own separate police force, their own court system, and they're not allowed to rat out other Jews to the goyish government, I believe is how they put it.
Yeah.
But no,
yeah.
this is historically. Well, historically, this has been going on forever. I mean, one case. I mean, I streamed on how Jack the Ripper was a Jew, and that's one of the reasons that for your entire life you heard about like all these conspiracy theories, none of which, by the way, involved him being a Jew. Oh, he's one of the royal family. Oh, he's this guy. He's this guy. Oh no, it was actually a Jew. It was a Polish immigrant.
Yeah. And they knew at the time, some evidence had emerged, she was the number one suspect. But there are documents, and I think some newspaper articles at the time, that there was concern that this would blow back and there would be anti-Semitism on the Jewish community. So it was suppressed by, I think, the Goy police force.
Well, and the Jews obviously in the community wouldn't rat him out. His brother knew. There was other people who knew, and they wouldn't rat him out. And so this is just another example of like how many crimes throughout history have been committed by Jews that lived in Goy neighborhoods and Goy countries, and the other Jews don't rat them out. I mean, it's part of their religion. It's built into their religion.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a new thing. This is like 2,000 years of them doing this.
Right. And it's not even that. It's not even that they have this parallel legal system and supposed system of justice. We are actively funding this. We are making this happen, which puts Goy communities at risk because we're not rooting out crime in the Jewish communities. So let's see. The Borough Park Shamrin alone received $425,000 from the New York City Council between 2010 and 2015. So that doesn't sound like a lot, but these are all volunteer positions. So that's almost all from equipment. And then you sent this to me. Okay. Congressional appropriators have proposed nonprofit security grant program funds at $300 million for the current fiscal year. Is that 2026? Yeah. An important increase that will help Jews and other faith groups protect themselves from violent threats. Jewish federations appreciate the Appropriations Committee $25 million proposed increase to the nonprofit security grant program, which is critical for protecting Jews and other faith communities from violence. This is an important step in the right direction. So I don't know how much of this money is going to this specific Shamrim, but it's going to some of it is going to them, and they're not using it to keep their community safe. They're using it to protect people in their community from getting caught in the larger community for committing violent crimes and sexual offenses. And money laundering. That's exactly what they're doing to perpetuate this high level of corruption that they have within their own community, and we are funding it. We are funding it.
And it pays for those fancy cars. It pays for their drone, their walkie-talkies, all that stuff. And it also pays for all that money goes to like their security detail at synagogues, like all this like directing traffic. I'm sure it's weird because like I remember there was a synagogue by my house when I was a teenager. And it wasn't like particularly busy, and it wasn't busier than like the churches in the area, but they always had cops there directing traffic and stopping traffic for them to go in and out of the synagogue. And there were bigger churches with much bigger congregations that were nearby that never had cops directing traffic for them. And that's because they've always had this special money going from some of which comes from the federal government. Because of the heightened danger that Jews always exist under because of the threat of anti-Semitism. And so the DOJ deems them more worthy of your tax dollars, and they fund a lot of their security. And look, we know Jews. We know that a lot of that money isn't just going to like pay for Jamal to direct traffic outside the synagogue. You know, a lot of that money is ending up in the pockets of guys like Rapey McRapums and all
or
these
his
other
mattress.
Jews.
Come on,
yeah,
get
right.
it right.
So it's and who's going to rat them out? Right, they're not allowed to. So,
I know.
So this is really what we have to deal with when we have these foreigners in our country, specifically Jews, where they do have a religious motivation for treating everyone but themselves as second-class citizens, as acting as if they are above the law. And unfortunately, there's a lot of Christians that agree with this. There's a lot of Christians that do think that they're God's chosen people, and they go along with this. You know, like it's not just the Zionist wars, like this whole preferential treatment that Jews have received in the West. I mean, obviously the more I guess acute example might be the fact that we go to war for Israel and shit like that. But they've always received some kind of favorited status, almost as far back as you want to go, in this country at least, and until they get kicked out, until they get expelled from a country. That's typically how it goes. They show up to some country after being expelled or what have you as refugees. And that, which is kind of what happened in America around the turn of the century. They showed up as refugees from the pogroms in Eastern Europe. And again, after World War II, they showed up as refugees after like all the evil Nazis. And what they do is they, little by little, they take over the country and take advantage of the hospitality until eventually they get kicked out again. And then they show up at someone else's doorstep and the cycle repeats. And so this is just something that's been going on. And what part of what facilitates that is that there is a sense among Christians, even the non-Zionists, that Jews are God's chosen people. If these were like Chinese people, or if they had some religion that was completely foreign and unrelated in any way to the religion of the I mean, because think of it this way: they're going to Christian countries. They're not going to China. They're not going to Japan. They're not going to these countries that don't give a fuck about their whole "I'm God's chosen ones." They're only going to Christian countries when they seek refuge from their getting kicked out of their previous country. So this. Do you
ever see comments on your channel that are like, you only talk about the Jews. Like, how is this helping move our cause forward? Now, I want to mention this comment because I do get it all the time. But understanding Jewish psyche, if you can truly understand it, and I think that this was an important story to talk about because people don't realize they give Jews this deity level. They embody them with this deity level power, but they are cannibalistic with one another, and they are truly self-interested. They have a sense of collectivism, but individually they're subversive. And I think that is part of the Jewish psyche that we could exploit to use to destroy them. You have to understand your enemy. You must understand your enemy. And looking at their system of governance and their system of justice, which is basically non-existent, is a very good way to understand. This is an important story. Like what we didn't talk about with the Shamrim, there are tons of resources. You should look into it on your own. And we should find a way. We should use this to find a way.
Well, and another too is a lot of it's out of ignorance. Like there are plenty of Christians that are like, oh yeah, they're God's chosen people, whatever. But there are the reason why we talk about this stuff. There's plenty of Christians that think that, in fact, there's today, even with all this rising anti-Semitism, there's still a lot of these Christians today that think, Jews are basically Christians without the New Testament. They don't realize there's all this other stuff.
Good Lord.
No, there's my mom, in explaining to me what Jews were when I was a kid, said that Jews were just like us. They just don't have the New Testament. And that's the only difference, is they just don't have Jesus.
Oh no.
And it's like they don't realize that there's all these other things at play. They don't realize that, like the idea that they, that they see themselves as like not farm animals like they see us. And they see the need, and not just the need, the commandment from God to have their own separate court systems and to not rout each other out and to treat us with a different morality than they treat themselves. And that this isn't, some mutilation of Judaism. This is standard Orthodox Judaism. Like this is just this isn't like some weird offshoot of Judaism. Like it's not something like something analogous to like the Reform Mormons or something like that. It's not like an obscure sect. It's like, no, this is just Judaism 101. And so many people have
the purest,
no idea.
Hasidic Judaism is the purest form of Judaism. Absolutely.
Right.
But it's not like they extend the subversion to God himself. I don't know. I watched tons of documentaries and because I was fascinated with the Hasidic community when I was preparing for this. And I watched one where he talks about all of the tricks that he uses on Shabbat. And it's like they think that they're pulling one over on God. Like they'll pull off toilet paper in a certain way so that they aren't working, or they'll use like a silicone toothbrush so that they're not like putting water in their mouths from the bristles. You're not supposed to squeeze water on Shabbat. Like all this stuff, like God's just going to be like, well, this technicality makes you more moral or something like that. They really think that they think it
makes you more clever, like
less than God needs them.
They think that God, in fact, this is true of a lot of third world societies. Like Indians are scammers, right? Well, one of the reasons why that is part of their culture is that they respect that. They don't look down. Like if you found out, for example, that your brother was scamming old people out of money, you'd be disgusted. You'd be like, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Whereas
are they old Jewish people?
Well, here's the thing: in third world countries, not just India, but the third world mindset is go and get yours. Oh, you scam some old people? Yeah. That makes you smart. That makes you superior. Yeah. And I think Jews have a similar view with their God, in that when they trick him, and people often make fun of this, like when they put the wire around the city and all this other stupid shit, that people will be like, well, how do you think you're tricking God? And it's because their relationship with their God is that God's like, that's using your noodle. Good one, Shlomo. That's using your head. Now go among the goyim and use that same cleverness to extract as much wealth from them and children as possible. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand that. And so it is important to talk about Jews and Jewish behavior because so many people just are, I think, completely in the dark. And, and there's a lot of this like over the top, low IQ anti-Semitism, as they say, right? Where it's like, okay, yeah, there's evil Jews, but like, you need to have an accurate read on your enemy. You can't like make them out to be like these superhuman, demons. Like you have to understand that this is a real opponent with real strategies that are really working, and you got to figure out ways of counteracting these strategies. And because look, in terms of numbers, I mean, Jews really punch above their weight. I mean, they are a tiny minority in the United States, and they're more powerful, I think, hands down, than white people. If Jews want something to happen, it happens. I mean, for fuck's sake, look what's happening right now in the Middle East. White people don't want that. Yeah. And there's so many more of us. No. In one of these Hasidic communities in Brooklyn, the average number of children the women are having is 8. Right. And you're paying for that. Just going back to Tyler Oliveira's documentary, you're paying for all that. Just like the welfare queens that you used to hear about in the 1990s. Look at all these black women, they're having like 80 fucking kids with 5 different men and blah, blah, blah. Well, Jews are doing the same thing, and they're taking advantage of those same laws. They get paid per kid when they do this. Your welfare increases with every kid that you have. Yep. So, yeah. Anyway, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about before we do some supers? Well, we do have a sponsor. We got a sponsor. Can you believe it? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. In fact, you guys have probably heard of it. Well, he's not the sponsor, but you guys have probably heard of of this sponsor here.
Antelope Hill Publishing is the premier American publishing house for informed and principled political dissidents. They've published essential authors like Dr. Kevin MacDonald, David Irving, Carey Bolton, Dr. Ricardo Duchesne, Josh Neal, and more. Their catalog includes original works on modern issues like the opioid crisis and the people and networks pushing transgenderism, as well as original historical sources from National Socialist Germany, Fascist Italy, Spain, Britain, Japan, and Hungary. Many available in English for the first time exclusively through Antelope Hill. Their catalog also includes thrilling fiction novels and beautifully illustrated and wholesome kids' books. Whatever your interest is, you are sure to find something you want at Antelope Hill Publishing. Check them out to support our friends and sponsor, and use the code OUTLAWS for 10% off your order.
So there you go.
When did you make this?
Before the show. I was like,
so good.
I had a little bit of time. So
I can guarantee that they are going to love this. They're going to love it.
I figured, better to ask forgiveness than ask for permission, as they say. So
no, I'm sure they're going to love it. Well done. Well done.
All right. Do you want me to go to
start on supers?
Well, we go. How about we do yours first?
Sure.
Or I can do Rumble first.
I'll do some of these first.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Please send your super chats to my YouTube channel or to Mr. Devon Stack on Entropy or Rumble Brands. We are instituting a $10 and up rule for show brevity. My apologies for not mentioning that earlier. We did mention it on the show last week, though. Righteous Muffin, I'll listen tomorrow. Thanks for what you do and the team. If only Devon had agreed 8 years ago. Yes, I have been on his case for a long time. I'm a maverick, Rebecca. I'm a maverick. Never going to do a show with another person. I'll just wear you down, man. And I did. Female nagging. It does accomplish a lot. It does.
It does.
Yep. Aggie Jet Pilot. We'll have to watch the replay later, but holy smoke show, blonde Batman with that intro screen. If that's what the end of society looks like, I say bring it. More simping, more simping. I need it. It's the only thing that's fueling my ego these days. Thank you so much. Lake says, great show. You guys rock. You rock, Lake. Romega, big dono. Thank you so much. Devin, have you seen the movie Punishment Park?
I have not.
What is that about? You should look it up. If I look it up, my computer might explode. It's called Punishment Park.
Punishment Park. I feel like that's going to come up with some porn site. Yeah, it's some kind of S&M shit. No, I'm just kidding. Punishment Park. It is a 1971 film, I believe. Let's see here. It's a pseudo-documentary drama written and directed by Peter Watkins. The setting is of a British and West German film crew following National Guard soldiers and police as they pursue members of counterculture group across the desert.
Whoa, that sounds right up your alley.
I'll have to maybe take a look at that.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I'm at my brother's house. We've been watching a movie every night. And last night we watched The Man Who Wasn't There, because I have the hots for Billy Bob Thornton.
Really?
Which everybody kept making fun of me. I just think that he is just the sexiest man.
He got
my husband was like, that guy?
He got Angelina Jolie, so he must excite some people.
I don't know what to say. This guy just does it for me, which was pretty good. I like the Coen brothers, even though they're, Jewish. Have you seen A Serious Man? Have we talked about this?
That's the super Jewy one, isn't it? Where it's like the most Jewish movie ever.
Great.
Oh, it's so Jewy though. It gave me a headache.
Yeah, it's self-aware Judaism though. It is very, very Jewish. Yeah. And the previous night we watched a movie called Lorenzo's Oil about a child with a rare disease that the neurotic parents, played by Nick Nolte as an Italian, and Susan Sarandon, who did an excellent job, actually find a way to stop it from progressing. It was, heart-wrenching. Have you seen Bone Tomahawk? Because that's the one everybody else is telling me to watch, but I heard it might be too violent.
Well, not for kids. Yeah, not for kids. It's
Isn't it a movie about cannibals?
Basically, I mean, it is. It's a horror film. I mean, it's a horror film it's I think people are so desensitized to how faggy everything is that they think that, at least they didn't make the white people the evil ones, and so it's a based movie. It's not a based movie, but it is, like, for compared to what it could have been, it's it's all right. It's all right.
Oh, should I not watch that tonight? Because
it makes the Indians look bad, which is good. I like that. But they also make the Indians look good because there's the good Indian that comes in and he's the smart one that told it's that whole thing. But there, at the very least, there's like it's like there's an evil tribe, and they don't get that much these days or ever.
I do like hyper violent.
It's hyper violent. It's horror. It's definitely like you probably like it, but no kids.
Okay.
Kids would probably freak out about it, but unless your kids are just
no.
Desensitized to all violence.
No, the girls would be traumatized for life. Harry Ludwig, thank you very much. Pride Assassin, thank you. Mr. Smitherin says, have you heard of the Krasner trial? There was a real-life Oscar Schindler, and the Israelis thanked him by assassinating him. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not familiar with that.
Maybe I should put this in the potential show notes.
You should.
Oh, and I looked into that Billy the Kid robbed Jewish banks, and it turns out it's not true. Yeah, I know. I was bummed. I was like, we can cover that next week. Stars, a big dono. Thank you. We need a white nationalist organization. We're so fragmented. We must create our own social media platforms, crowdfunding, banks, NGOs, etc. I wish, where are our billionaires? I know we have to have one sympathetic billionaires because all billionaires have to deal with Jews all the time. So some of them must know what's up. Yet we're not getting any money thrown at us. And I still get accused of being a Russian shill, and I don't make any money.
Well, I kind of wonder if though that's why there are. I mean, because billionaires are having to deal with Jews all day. The Jews wouldn't, if they caught a whiff of that, they wouldn't deal with them anymore.
Yeah.
And there goes the money.
It sure would be nice. Pride Assassin, thank you. HWP says, keep up the fight. You too. We really appreciate your support. I think I am good over here.
All right, we'll take a look at Rumble. Let's see here. Rumble, Team White says, I like the new time slot. Well, that's good.
Good. Some people were pissed off. There was a really pissed off European on Twitter today. Yeah.
Europeans especially were a little complaining.
They were really not happy with us. Yeah.
They can watch the replay. We got Evergreen. What time is it actually? It is pretty late in Europe. Evergreen Dream says, not even a week after that halal grocery store incident at the synagogue, there was already one of those Jew-belong billboards on my commute referencing it, trying to guilt the goys over it. There you go. And honestly, that's part of the money thing too. Honestly, if we had these organizations, these pro-aid organizations, every time something like this happened, like the arena thing, right? Like everyone's up in arms because they're taking the Jew, by the way, the Jewish mayor is taking down the mural. Well, the Jewish mayor wouldn't have a say if the billionaire was putting up billboards and the billionaire was telling the Jewish mayor he was going to fund his opposition if he didn't fucking shut the fuck up and let the mural stay there. And there's just not there. And it's sad because there's plenty of, by the way, white crypto bros with like billions of fucking dollars and all kinds of, rich white people that they just don't care about your people. They just don't. That low income preference is a bitch. But look, it'll get weeded out. That's a selection pressure. All those white people that don't have in-group preference are going to be brown people without in-group preference in a generation. So it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
All right. Then we got likes to watch says, shit, forgot about the time slot change. Catching up now. Have a good night. You too. Well, there we go. Appreciate
Thank you so
that.
much.
And must be one of our those Europeans we were talking about. And then we got Denise the Celt says, Jews are crazy, and I believe evil on a genetic level, but they do unequivocally teach us that ethnic solidarity and exclusion of the other gets you everything. That is true. It does, except for a soul, which they do not have. Now we have Ta'amohawk says, when I think about our demographic situation, I can't help but feel like we're fucked. Our only hope at this point is to concentrate in one location and seize control. What are your thoughts on that? People bring that up a lot. Do you think that everyone should just try to, flood the zone somewhere?
Well, then we're all in the same place. That's dangerous. The best thing that you can do is not miscegenate. I mean, that's the number one thing, since you're, directly diluting your gene pool. But I don't know that we should all be in the same place. I was reading a study on like baseline population level for appropriate genetic variants where birth defects are low, and you only need a population of 500 people. And whites are never going to get to that low of a number. So I think that concerns of fertility are overblown. We can really do a lot in one generation. And Jews do this thing where they have, I think this is in Israel, where they have 2 children and they highly invest in those 2 children. And then they teach those children that they each need to have 5 children. And then they just keep alternating so that the gene pool keeps increasing, but that there are stacked generations or like alternate generations where there's really, really high investment in the children. And they've still managed to grow at exponential rates. So, I mean, focus needs to be on quality, not quantity. And then the most important thing is to not miscegenate. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that's also a selection pressure. There are selected whites, and unfortunately, they will have a lot of kids. But I feel like those are also kind of the dysgenic whites that don't really matter. They're the ones that I end up arguing with on Twitter. But you want to be case selected. You want to invest a lot in your kids, and look, case selected people are never going to outbreed the enemy. And when people try to act like, I can tell that they haven't done much in the world if your big accomplishment is you got some bitch pregnant. In fact, I almost feel like you're just making more people I have to gas later because of the way, honestly, they're just making more in the way fucking people that I'm going to have to, if they're anything like their father, that I'm arguing with on Twitter, then you shouldn't have had 6 kids. You know what I mean? So people need to focus on quality for sure. But at the same time, if you can afford it, and that's the thing is, my parents had several, Mormon families obviously had several kids, and my couple of my siblings have really fucking, had litters of children, and if you can afford it, it's great. Especially when you have the big household, and if you can have them when they're close in age, they help raise each other. I think you get more balanced humans that way too, when they're having to share things and learn how to be, socialize with people and deal with other people. So it's all about what you can handle but no, I don't. This idea that you must have 1 billion kids is retarded.
Yeah.
We got Sacco Possums says, just a little fuel to keep the fire going. Less than 10 gallons of diesel nowadays. Though thanks, I always read like a retard. Less than 10 gallons of diesel nowadays, though. Thanks, and have a totally kind day. Well, there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sack of Possums. That's a very visual name you've got there. I'm just imagining a pillowcase full of squirming possums.
Yeah.
All right, then we got Cage Mushinjaro says, the blackpilling continues. Another important stream. Thanks, guys. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Then we got Devon Stack for Fewer says, Rebecca, have you ever seen Devon's face? I had a dream he revealed himself to Michael C. Hall and uses a voice changer to sound like Norm Macdonald. Who's Michael C.
Can I
Hall?
answer this?
Yeah, you can answer that.
Like, honestly?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have seen Devon's face. After, 7 years of bugging him.
I do not look like Michael C. Hall, by the way. I just looked him up.
He finally sent me a picture. And honestly, I'm sure everybody gets this with, when you see a radio host's face and you're like, ugh. But that did not happen with Devon. I saw a picture of Devon and I was like, that is what I expected. And it was not disappointing.
And it was not Michael C. Hall.
No.
All right.
Devon doesn't have radio face. There it is.
Oh, there we go. And then we got Jafig. Jafig says, Devon, a Sonoran hot dog is a bacon-wrapped hot dog with pinto beans topped with onion mayonnaise and mustard and some sort of Mexican bread bun. Not a perverse thing. This is in response to Saturday.
Does that sound disgusting?
It could be good. Let me see. Let me read this again. Yeah. I'm not a big hot dog guy is the thing. So it's a hot dog wrapped in bacon with frijoles. And also the mayonnaise thing throws me a little bit. It's like
you're a no mayonnaise guy.
Not a no mayonnaise, but it's like you're mixing two worlds that should never collide. Like it sounds like hot dog and Mexican food. It's kind of like saying, it's like, like having I don't know, it's just
pickles and ice cream or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like because hot dogs are just they're like their own thing. But I don't know. I'm also not a big hot dog person.
Cream cheese on a hot dog is bomb, though.
That could work because that's not Mexican food. Then we got Jafig. Jafig says, excited for a stream with an anti-Mexican angle. most seem too receptive to their presence anymore. Did Rebecca get lip fillers? that's a
I did
non
not.
sequitur.
I will tell you what I did. I got a lip flip. It is Botox, so it will be gone in 3 months. I'm not super happy with it, but I was like breaking up with Dave and stuff, and I'm like, I gotta glow up, and I went too far. I went too far. It's gonna go away. It's okay, everybody. I was telling Devon that the other day. I'm like, one person told me that I look old online, and I got way too much Botox. Like, way too much. I'm gonna go back. It's gonna go back to normal. It's fine.
Yeah, ladies out there, don't do fillers of any kind. Like the fillers.
No, don't do fillers.
It's a bad.
Fillers are a disaster, but Botox wears off pretty quickly. So
there you go.
I should look normal within the next few months.
As soon as your face stops being paralyzed by microorganisms. All right.
No, it's botulism,
toxins.
Devon. It's
that's right.
it's toxins. Yeah.
By poisonous botulism. All right. Then we got Jimbo Rockford says, I like the new time slot. I can catch a little bit on my lunch break instead of scrambling before my shift begins. Here's a little money because like B2, see good people do good things. All right. Well, I think you were rushing back to work when you finished your sentence there.
He's like, fuck. I have to stop listening.
He's like, oh, fuck. I'm not going to go back to work. But thank you very much. Then we got Night Train. Night Train says, got me good with the FBI thing. I knew it would work on some people. I've used it before. We got
one person.
Yeah. Oh, I used it. Well, I used it years ago. So I thought, well, maybe most people will forget, or new people haven't seen it. And then, then we kind of fumbled it. But we got Night Train. Night Train was impressed with the shenanigans. All right, then we got Cage Mushinjaro says non-participation in the ideologies pushed on us is the most important thing. Highly recommending the book Anti-Politics by Wifelings Publishing just for all the exposure it gives. There you go. I've not read that book. Have you read that book?
Neither have I. Thank you. Mm-mm.
Then we got Ray Flex says, great show. Glad Churro is doing well. Well, thank you very much. And yes, he is. Well, if he ever comes back, the little bastard. And then we got White X Pilled says, God bless you both. Keep up your good work, and may this show last quite some time to come. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And then we got Tomo Hawk says, Rebecca, I understand your point about how it's risky if we're all in one place. But I don't know how we'll ever have political power if we don't.
Yeah. I mean, like all things, I might be wrong about this. I just worry about, getting all white people getting droned. And I'm not particularly concerned about having political power.
Well, and I would say also that it doesn't mean that no white people should congregate in one place. You can build a community, just not. We can't do like calling all white people. Calling all white people meet here. Within the blast radius of this town. All right,
exactly.
And then we got over on Entropy. We have a very generous dono by Clan Kester. Clan Kester says, JFG's mummy sex bit was out of control hilarious.
I know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then Clan...
somebody messaged me because he said, like he would do that thing to me 50,000 times. And somebody messaged me and they're like, well, at least he didn't say he was going to murder you 50,000 times.
But don't bump. Now, also from Clan Kester, another generous dono. He says, I have found new artists from your intros over the years. When I heard Blizzard Summer, we'll make our own name, I thought it was a real artist, and I was scrambling to find the source. Finally had to get Shazam to ID it. Great simple track. Try listening to it from the point of view from AI singing it. It also works in a weird way. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it. There's, it's, I need to make more of those. That's the band. That's the fake band that girls like. Blizzard Summer. So
yeah, all those songs are great.
Well, thank you very much, Clan Caster, for the very generous donos there. Oh, there's more. But first we have to go to I'm an interpreter for NI. Oh, for NIGS is what I'm thinking. It got cut off. It got truncated there. He says, whenever I stay at an Airbnb and a normie forgets to log out of their YouTube, I like to make sure I put you guys in their history.
That's great.
There you go. That's a good. You should also do that at stores like
hotels
or anywhere that has like a browser that you can put us on.
Smart.
Anywhere at all that you can do that. All right. Then we got. Thank you very much, interpreter for NIGS. Then we got Clan Kester again says, I was close to pulling the trigger on the Backlash Black Tie weekend. Glad I did not, of course. But hope something in IRL can happen down the road. In the Seattle area, so Idaho is close, and want to give IRL events if possible. Need Devon there, of course. Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm really into this idea of doing IRL events. They're incredibly difficult to organize. Of course, Dave, massively dropped the ball on that one. But I wish him the best. I wish him the best. I wish the Backlash the best, or whatever the fuck I'm supposed to say here.
Well, yeah, I think there'll be something like that in the future, and maybe even something. I don't want to say extravagant, but I don't know. I think we're ambitious enough to where we might have something beyond just like hey guys, meet us at this Starbucks. We could do something fun, and that's something I've been planning on doing.
I think we can put something together. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not a fortune teller, Clan Kester, but I think it's quite possible we will meet someday in the future. Then we got the Fubar Nation. Says, loving the Antelope Hill commercial. Well, there you go, see? That's the first time you've got like a super chat about the sponsor, and see the sponsor should be very happy about that. There we go. Oh, then we got another one from Clan Kester, a big one coming, and it says, I'm game for a fundraiser event like that. Well, there you go. There you go. Look at this. We got maybe Clan Kester is that billionaire crypto bro we were talking about. See, secret billionaire.
Oh man, yeah.
Mr.
If any of you are
here.
out there and you're listening, and you're incredibly rich, if you give us any of your money, we will use it for the good of white people. I promise you.
It is true. It is true. All right. Then we got one more, which is actually confirmation that indeed Jimbo Rockford had to go back to work. He says, I meant to say I like to see good people do good things. Now I have to scramble back to work.
Oh, so there it is. Go.
All right.
I got a few more on my end if you're wrapped up.
I think we are.
All right. Let me actually reload. Harry Ludwig again. Thank you. Scribble Saga. Thank you so much. White Gun Nationalist. Here's some dollars from Texas. Next week, this super chat will be in Hindi. Ruh-roh. Sorry to hear that, buddy. Vincent Pendragon. Thank you so much. And I think I might have said this, but HWP says keep up the good fight. Thank you. And I'm good over here.
Well, we got one more from Clan Kester. Another very generous, I think he is a crypto bro billionaire here. He says, this is way past due support for both of you. Well,
thank you so much.
Very much. And you know what? You're going to get I know this is not the Insomnia stream, but you're going to get a hive, Clan. I'm going to write this down. Yeah, this is an actual notebook. You hear that? I'll write down that you get a hive. Clan Kester gets a hive.
Oh.
All right. Let me just double check on Rumble, but I think we're good.
Me too.
Now we got one more on Rumble. and it is, I would dodge lasers at a museum for blonde, says Jack85. Well, there you go. You got your simp boost right at the end there.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Outlaws. We'll be back here on next Wednesday. I think this is a good time. I think it worked out.
I like the time slot. It works out, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll do 5 p.m. Unless something horrible happens. And other than that, you guys all have a good rest of your week. You want to tell people about your other show there, Becky?
Sure. I do a show with Cameron McGregor at noon Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays. It is called The Reset. There will not be a show tomorrow because my service here is ass. So I'll be back the following Thursday noon Pacific Standard Time. Find me on X at blondes_tweets. Follow my new YouTube channel at Rebecca Hargraves 1, where we will be streaming Reset. I'm just going to see if I can ever break this 126,000 barrier that I've been at for like 8 years. So yeah. Oh, also our Subscribestar is up, subscribestar.com/outlaws. It is linked in the description below, along with all of my links and all of Devon's links. Devon, do you have anything else you want to add?
That's it. Just make sure you go and watch the Insomnia stream this Saturday at 10 o'clock or 10 p.m. Pacific time. And it'll be a great late night fun adventure into something I don't even know yet. I was waiting for like these. It's going to be a good stream. I ordered these DVDs of these things you can't get online. That looks well. I'm talking a big game. It's probably going to be terrible when it shows up, but it's like 12 hours of video that I have to get through. So there's got to be something in there, and it hasn't shown up yet. But yeah, and even if it shows up tomorrow, I don't think I'll be able to make it through all of it before Saturday. But I have a plan B, and it'll be just as well. It won't be as awesome. I'll just be honest with you, but it will be awesome. It'll be awesome. So in the meantime,
thank you
guys
so much for watching.
Have a great week, and we are out of here.
Ooh. Bye.